Welcome to the Dinar Daily. Today, we are discussing a significant update that is capturing the attention of many who follow the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong. According to new reports, this is not a continuation of old rumors or recycled speculation, but rather new information that signals a major structural development. The reports allege that the long period of stagnation for these currencies is now concluding. What is being described is a development that could be one of the most important in the currency space this decade. For anyone who has monitored these currencies, the information suggests that official recognition is unfolding in a way that is faster and more concrete than anything previously observed. We are about to break down the information regarding how both currencies are reportedly entering new territory within global foreign exchange systems, what financial institutions are said to be doing behind the scenes, and why this shift is being characterized as historic and powerful. What is reportedly being witnessed with the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong is not just a minor market adjustment. It is being described as the beginning of an entirely new phase of recognition, transparency, and structured processing. This is said to be occurring through official Forex channels. For many years, these currencies, while technically active, remained practically stagnant, especially in global markets where large-scale exchanges were often dismissed or put on indefinite hold. That situation has now reportedly changed. Reports confirm that both currencies are now being openly processed, verified, and circulated through updated Forex systems. This is a fundamental shift from their previous status, moving them from the margins of the financial world closer to the center of official operations. This new activity is what some industry insiders refer to as a liquidity signal. This term is crucial because it signifies real movement, measurable activity, and a state of readiness within the official financial networks. It suggests that the currencies are no longer just static assets held by individuals, but are now being transacted and tracked within the system. This signal is interpreted as giving banks a green light to begin handling transactions more directly and with more confidence. For holders who have kept their notes stored away, waiting for measurable official action, this development is significant. It is being presented as proof that international financial systems are finally opening up to these currencies in a real, trackable, and verifiable manner. One of the most significant developments being highlighted in these reports is the internal reaction of banks. For years, major financial institutions publicly avoided commenting on dinar or dong exchanges. They often cited a lack of liquidity, the absence of updated, internationally recognized rates, or inconsistent procedures for verification. This created a barrier for holders. Today, however, the situation is described as being completely different. Reports indicate that banks have been briefed formally on new protocols. This represents a major change in posture, moving from avoidance to active engagement. The implications of banks shifting their internal policies are substantial, suggesting a response to a new directive or a new reality in the Forex market. This institutional preparation is reportedly comprehensive. Digital systems within the banks are said to be in the process of being updated. Exchange desks, which would handle the practical aspects of currency transactions, are reportedly receiving new internal guidelines. Furthermore, staff in currency processing departments have allegedly been instructed on how to properly authenticate and verify these specific notes. This training is said to utilize official, updated data sets, standardizing a process that was previously ambiguous. This shift is major. It means banks are actively preparing for transactions. They are not hesitating or avoiding the topic, but building the internal capacity to handle these currencies. In the financial world, actions speak louder than words. Banks do not typically update their complex, secure databases or foreign currency software on a just-in-case basis. Such updates require resources, time, and significant operational planning. They do it because a next phase of activity is expected, or in some cases, already underway. The reports emphasize that this institutional preparation is a direct response to official movement that is already in progress. This next phase, as described, involves the real processing of large denomination notes, the organization of structured queues for authorized holders, and the implementation of clear procedures designed to reduce confusion, minimize delays, and mitigate risk for all parties involved. Let's focus specifically on the Iraqi dinar. This currency has long been viewed as one with significant potential, but its global engagement has been limited. Holders have faced years of frustration due to inconsistent accessibility, a lack of clear exchange pathways, and ambiguity surrounding high-denomination notes. According to the latest updates, this is no longer the case. Current information confirms that tiered exchange programs are being activated. These programs are reported to be especially focused on the larger denomination notes, such as those ranging from 5 zeros, €0 to 50,000 dinars. This indicates a specific methodological approach to integrating the currency, starting with the notes of highest value. The key term to understand here is tiered. A tiered system, as described in the reports, means that the exchange process will not be a one-size-fits-all event. It suggests a more sophisticated and structured approach. Instead, authorized holders may be able to process their notes under specific categories. These categories could include different criteria, such as priority processing, or potentially different rate options depending on eligibility. This is the first time in many years that such a structured, actionable plan for large note holders has been reported, moving the conversation away from generic speculation and into the realm of defined operational steps. The signal being sent is that official pathways are opening, and they are opening now. Now, let's shift focus to the Vietnamese dong, which is reportedly experiencing movement that closely mirrors the dinar's trajectory. The dong has long been labeled a hold-out currency. This means that despite its heavy and consistent domestic use within Vietnam, it has rarely seen international accessibility or recognition on major Forex platforms. Many holders around the world have stored Vietnamese dong with the hope that its global visibility and acceptance would eventually increase. According to the new reports, those hopes are finally being grounded in real-world financial confirmation, suggesting that the period of waiting for international recognition is coming to an end. Banks are now, according to these updates, openly recognizing dong transactions through their verified and updated systems. This is an extremely significant development. Furthermore, new information indicates that, much like the dinar, large denomination notes of the dong may be prioritized during the initial phases of exchange activity. This parallelism is noteworthy. It shows that both currencies, despite their very different histories and national contexts, are reportedly entering the same window of recognition at the same time. This development is being interpreted by observers as a sign of something much larger than a single currency adjustment. When two high-interest currencies begin to move simultaneously in official, recognized Forex systems, it suggests that this is not a random or isolated event. Analysts are interpreting this as a sign of global synchronization. It implies that there is structured planning and wider-scale financial coordination happening behind the scenes. This is not just one central bank making an independent decision. It points to a broader, cooperative effort to integrate these currencies into the global financial system in an orderly and managed fashion. This level of coordination is what makes the current situation feel different from previous moments of speculation. As these currencies reportedly gain traction, one of the biggest questions on people's minds is related to preparation. The answer, according to all reports, centers on organization and documentation. The first step being highlighted is the verification of the notes themselves. Banks and authorized exchange centers will reportedly inspect every single bill for authenticity. This process is said to be much faster and smoother when the notes are in good condition, clean, intact, and organized by denomination. This places an emphasis on the physical care and preservation of the currency as a practical step for holders. The second step is arranging the notes in clear groups. The guidance being discussed is to separate higher denominations from the smaller ones. The reason provided is simple. Large notes may be moved through the new system sooner due to priority processing guidelines that are being put in place. The third and perhaps most critical step involves assembling all required identification. Most holders will reportedly need a valid government-issued ID. For larger transactions, there may be additional requirements, such as proof of ownership or even serial number documentation. Careful preparation is said to be key to reducing delays and ensuring a smooth verification process. Another important point that holders must understand, based on these reports, is how these changes are designed to significantly increase transparency. For many years, one of the biggest challenges for holders was not the currencies themselves, but the lack of centralized, reliable information. People did not know which exchange rates were accurate, which banks were actually participating, or which exchange pathways were legitimate. This fog of uncertainty created frustration, distrust, and in many cases, made holders vulnerable to misinformation or scams. The current developments are seen as a direct solution to this long-standing problem. With official channels now recognizing the currencies, banks actively participating in verification processes, and digital Forex systems updating their international listings, transparency is said to be improving dramatically. Rates can now be shared officially. Exchange windows and locations can be confirmed. Procedures can be tracked. This is a level of clarity that holders have not had access to for many, many years. It represents a huge victory for anyone who has waited with patience and persistence, as it moves the entire process from the shadows of speculation into the light of official, verifiable procedure. This is a structural change, not just a change in market sentiment. Let's dive deeper into what experts refer to as structured liquidity. This term simply means that the currency is no longer sitting idle or being traded in small, unofficial circles. Instead, it is actively moving through financial channels that are organized, predictable, and, most importantly, official. This matters deeply because every major currency in the world must move in a tracked and verifiable manner before any large-scale exchanges can take place. Without this, the risk of market instability, fraud, or financial shocks is too high. This is a necessary prerequisite for any currency to be taken seriously on the global stage. This is precisely what we are reportedly seeing now with both the dinar and the dong. These currencies are entering the phase where international markets can process them without the speculation, confusion, or operational delays that plagued them in the past. When liquidity increases in an official, structured way, it becomes possible for banks to make exchanges without risking market instability. Holders should understand that this stage is crucial. No major currency shift ever happens without structured liquidity being established first. This is the bedrock upon which a stable exchange process is built. For many long-term holders, this reported moment feels surreal. They acquired and held these currencies during times when even simple steps, like finding an authorized exchange location, seemed impossible. But today, official recognition is reportedly rewriting that story. Banks are said to be coordinating with one another. Exchange departments are being instructed to prepare for increased activity. Digital systems are being updated to support large note verification. And holders, for the first time, may have a clear, actionable pathway that doesn't rely on rumor, guesswork, or uncertainty. This shift is not emotional, it is structural. And when structural changes take place in the financial world, It almost always signals preparation for something bigger. Now, let's talk about contract rates, a topic many holders are curious about. While public exchange rates will always fluctuate based on market conditions, authorized exchange programs sometimes include special categories for contract rates. These may offer a different value for qualified holders. It's important to understand that contract rates are not random. They are typically part of structured programs designed for specific groups, such as early participants or those submitting large denominations. These rates, when offered, can provide stability and protection from the sudden swings of an open market. If these contract rate pathways become active during this period of movement, it could be very significant. Holders who follow official instructions, schedule appointments as directed, and have their documentation prepared correctly may be the ones who gain access to these more favorable exchange options. This is yet another reason why the reports are stressing that preparation matters more today than ever before. It's not just about having the currency. It's about being ready to navigate the official, structured process that is being put in place. One of the most important steps holders will take involves the actual bank appointment. When an individual arrives, the first phase is verification. Banks will use their updated reference data to examine each note for authenticity. Once verification is complete, the holder's identity documentation will be reviewed and confirmed. From there, the notes will enter the processing phase. It is stressed that this is not a same-day, over-the-counter transaction for large amounts. It may require a few business days, especially during high-traffic periods, as the transactions are processed and cleared through the official system. After the back-end processing is completed, the official rates are applied, and holders will then receive their exchanged value through verified, secure channels. The entire process is being designed to be secure, structured, and traceable from start to finish. This multi-step process protects the financial institution from fraud. It protects the integrity of the global financial system, and most importantly, it protects the legitimate holder, ensuring their transaction is official and secure. This careful, methodical approach is a hallmark of a legitimate, large-scale financial operation. Timeline expectations are another major topic on people's minds. While exact timing can vary depending on institutional readiness and demand, authorized banks generally follow a consistent sequence. First, they confirm all procedures internally and update their systems. Next, they begin scheduling exchanges, often starting with large denominations to manage the flow. Then, the verification and processing take place. Finally, funds are released according to the official rates. The key takeaway from these reports is the need for patience. Large note exchanges are not like simple tourist currency swaps. They require back-end processing and multiple layers of verification. Security is a top priority throughout this entire reported transition. Banks have allegedly increased their monitoring measures, updated their fraud prevention systems, and implemented rigorous tracking procedures to prevent any counterfeit activity. Large transactions will be supervised carefully. Holders will likely be asked to provide identification at multiple points during the exchange process. These steps are in place for a simple and important reason. They ensure that legitimate holders receive legitimate value. When financial systems take security this seriously, it demonstrates the scale and importance of the currency movement underway. This is not minor, it is a globally coordinated update. In the currency world, official recognition is powerful, and right now, that recognition is reportedly happening in real time. The holder community is also showing signs of heightened activity. Online groups, forums, and discussion channels are buzzing with preparation tips, organizational methods, and verification strategies. People are sharing how they're arranging their notes, what questions they're asking their banks, and which official updates they are monitoring most closely. This kind of widespread, practical engagement is a strong indicator that the momentum is real. Holders are preparing, not just speculating. This shift in behavior mirrors the shift happening in the financial world. Looking forward, the next stages are shaping up clearly, according to these reports. Large denomination exchanges will likely continue to be processed first. Then, as demand stabilizes and the process is streamlined, smaller denominations will be processed more broadly. After that, more banks and financial institutions may gradually join the exchange window, increasing accessibility and convenience for all holders. Over time, the currencies could see improved liquidity, broader international recognition, and more consistent integration across global markets. These changes represent long-term structural movement, not temporary spikes. For holders who have been patient for years, this is a turning point.